Now that we have finished a mini lesson and know what dialogue is and how it should look like, we're going to practice a worksheet before we get into our main activity just to make sure we all know and understand what dialogue really is. So going back into the text of the Goldilocks and the Three Bears, we're going to underline with different colors showing to indicate who is actually speaking in the text. So we're going to use this example. In the parlor, the three bears were in for another little surprise. So we know that someone's starting to talk here because there's quotation marks. So we can start here. Somebody has been sitting in my chair. And you know to stop there because you see the punctuation of the exclamation point and the quotations are ending here. And then you use the black marker to indicate that Papa Bear is speaking. And then we carry on to here, and it says, somebody has been sitting in my chair, said Mama Bear. So we're going to use a different color for this. Mama Bear will be blue. So we start here because this is where the quotation marks start. Go all the way down to here. We stop at the comma, and the quotations end there. And we highlight it in blue because Mama Bear is speaking. Pass out worksheets to you, and you're going to do exactly what I showed on the board. On these worksheets, you can use pens, pencils, highlighters, just whatever to indicate the different dialogues between the characters. I'm also going to be coming around to check on your work to see your understanding of dialogue. Nice, very nice.
This one doesn't say who's talking after. How do you know who it is?
Well, because they don't mention another person before or after, you just assume that it's Papa Bear still talking.
Am I doing this right?
Let's see. You had it right until the line ends at, I've heard that the bear lives there. So this part here, you must promise not to take the shortcut through the forest, she said. I've heard that bears live there. That is what Mama's saying. So that part's right, but then the part where it says, I promise, said Goldilocks, that would be a different color because it says, said Goldilocks before I promise. So you would use a different color.
Talking right
yes.
there. I know, said Papa Bear. Why don't we? So if there's not an indication for who else is talking, then it's just the person is talking,
right.
Probably.
And if you say it out loud, you'll get a better feel for who is actually talking.
So is this correct now?
I know, said Papa Bear. Why don't we go for a spin while the porridge is cooling? Excellent, said Mama Bear. Yes, that is correct. Very good.
What do I do for this one?
Who was that little girl? Asked Baby Bear. I have no idea, said Mama Bear, but I hope we never see her again. So that is still Mama Bear talking, although there's the quotation marks with her saying something in the beginning, and then it says Mama says it, and then there's quotations after. That still means she's speaking. Okay. And if you read it out loud, you'll get a better understanding for who's still speaking in the text. All right, we're good. All right, now that we have worked with partners, we didn't work with partners. Okay, now that we have finished our worksheets on dialogue with the Goldilocks and the Three Bears, we're going to go off on our own and we're going to create our own dialogue with a conversation style. So a dialogue means you need at least two or more people in a conversation. So we're going to use, just make up one ourselves. So does anyone want to start off the conversation?
I will.
Okay. Shay?
Hi, said Shay.
How would we start that?
So the hi is going to be in quotations, right, because that's what you're saying.
And what do we need to do with the H?
capitalize.
Very good. We can't forget about our grammar while focusing on the dialogue. And how would you like to use your tone of voice with this high?
An exclamation mark.
All right. Is there anything else you would want to add, or?
Does there need to be another quotation after the?
Very correct. All right.
And then said Shay. And I think there's a period after that.
Yes. Rachel, would you like to add something?
How are you?
All
Said
right.
Rachel.
And how would we write that on the board?
Well, you need quotations first,
Yes.
and you need capital H. And then, because there's a how, you have to have a question mark.
Very good.
And then you have to have more quotations at the end. And then, since Shay said it, the first one, I want to say asked.
Okay.
Okay, so. Yeah, and then you need a period after my name.
Very good. So now that you students have an idea of this, I'm going to have you write it on the board yourself to get a better feel for actually writing it instead of just looking at it.
Can we make it funny?
Of course.
Okay. Quotations. See, because I'm not actually horrible. I am horrible. Does raged work with that sentence? Raged, Shay?
Yes,
that
that
work?
does rate. That does make sense. Raged is-
Raged. Is that right?
No, you
Raged.
have very good sounding out of the letters. It's just R-A-G.
Raged. Ed.
Good.
Period.
Very good. Now you can pass the marker to Rachel.
I'm gonna make it funny too. I get angry when I'm hungry.
Stay up there for a second. That was very good, except you have the correct spelling of because.
What's the correct spelling?
The incorrect.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Try that
I
again.
know the first is right.
Yes. Silent E. Very good. All right, now we're going to review this one more time. So I really liked how right here we use the word raged. That's correct because with the exclamation point, you often feel excited or angry or upset. So this word really emphasizes that exclamation point, which is very good because oftentimes in text you'll see the said or the asked with the question mark. So switching it up in your writing and using different adjectives that follow the punctuation of the dialogue is a good way to switch up in your writing. So we're going to just go through and, like we did before, just as a final review, underline the differences between each of these. So we'll use the red for Shay, and we'll use the blue for Rachel. Rachel, hi, said Shay. And oftentimes when we're reading, we read it so quickly, we'll read, hi, said Shay, how are you? Without forgetting that Rachel is actually speaking in the second line. So we need to slow down and look before we rush into the next sentence to indicate who is actually speaking here. Because sometimes students might get confused, oh, is Shay still speaking because she's right here? But no, Rachel's actually asking the how are you? And then, I am horrible, raged Shay. So she is speaking again. And then, are you horrible because you are hungry, said Rachel. And she is saying that.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you put, so in the second line it says, how are you? Asked Rachel.
Yes.
Can you say, Rachel asked, how are you? Would there be any differences with that?
Yes, that you can for sure switch. This can definitely go in front of here. And sometimes in writing, if we have issues with the dialogue, if you guys, when we're writing our pieces later on in the next few weeks, it might be easier for you to indicate who's talking by putting the Rachel asked or in front of here than at the end, so that we don't get that confusion of the two characters with the dialogue.
Okay.
Tying in from what we learned a few classes ago about learning about first person, can anyone tell me what perspective they might think that this book was pointed at? Shay?
Was it in second person?
Not second person, but is in fact third person. So the narrator is telling this story. So the book includes 4 characters, Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear, and Goldilocks. But none of these characters are actually telling the story. It tells the story as a whole. So we know this by the narrator saying, Mama Bear said, Baby Bear said. It doesn't say I say or anything like that. So it gets, yeah, shit. Have you students pair up and create a few sentences in third person.
Okay, so we should let's pick people in the class. So let's pick Bob. So I like cheese. Said Bob. Oh no, this has to be a comma. Said Bob. And then who else should we pick? We need one more person in the class.
Who else is in the class?
Jim?
Jim? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I like cheese with crackers.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question. So how do you two know that this is from third person view and this isn't from first person view like we already learned?
Well, it's kind of confusing because it says I, but
Yes.
we know at the end when it said Bob,
Yes.
that it's not saying I said, it's saying Bob said.
How could we change either of these two sentences to make it into first person? Do you know?
Would instead of saying said Bob, would you say I said? Like,
yes.
I like cheese, I said.
Yes.
Do you want us to add a non-dialogue to show that, like, the narrator is talking?
Sure, you can make up a little short summary or story.
Okay.
to go with this?
So we could put
The two.
the two went to the store to buy crackers and cheese.
Went to the, oh, oops. The store for cheese and crackers or
Yeah.
for a snack?
For a snack.
Okay, for a snack.
All right. Would you two mind sharing what you have and can either speak the 2 lines or one person can read it? Doesn't matter.
What would you like to do?
I can read the second one.
Okay.
You can read the first one.
I like cheese, said Bob.
I like cheese with crackers, yelled Jim.
The two went to the store for a snack.
Very good.